Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to Theme Thursday. This week we're going to talk about the Clifton Strengths theme of strategic. Now, strategic falls under strategic thinking themes, which if you don't understand about StrengthsFinder domains, check out my 3-minute coach from this week. I talk about all the different domains of StrengthsFinder themes. It's kind of a gift up to folks who understand StrengthsFinder pieces. But when it comes to strategic specifically, strategic is a decision-making theme that is all about solving problems quickly. I often say strategic is the brain hunting for problems to solve. Now, Gallup and I have a little bit of a differing opinion in my experience with talking to people with strategic. But when I worked at Hewlett Packard, our strategic plan was our long-term plan. It was like the long-term pattern. I actually find that strategic is more navigating in the moment than it is long-term planning. They can definitely see patterns, but I find that strategic often manifests itself in removing roadblocks now. So this can be something about solving a problem at a client site immediately. It also means you know which line at Costco is moving faster. You instantly assess the backup, you assess what's happening, and your brain assesses, selects a solution, pulls the trigger. And so the big joke is never let these people ride in the passenger seat of your car, because they'll be the ones going, why didn't you change lanes? Why didn't you make the change? Because what ends up happening is that they see patterns in traffic before we do. So you might find that when it comes to planning and thinking, themes like a ranger, they'll know that from here to LA, taking Highway 15 might be a better option than taking 5. But on the freeway, strategic knows which lane of traffic is moving faster. And so strategic, they assess, select, strike. It's very quick, it's very intentional, it's very fast. And in fact, some of the dark side, some of the pieces we complain about the most when it comes to strategic, having a hard time talking today, when it comes to strategic, is that they often will make decisions without us. In fact, strategic can be accused of not being collaborative. One of the challenges they face is that their brain sees a problem and it says, assess, select, strike. What it doesn't say is, assess the problem, talk to committee, get committee's approval, get committee's response, now pull the trigger. And so they instantly make decisions focusing and prioritizing the problem, not focusing on how do I feel about being left out of that situation. But then, back to something else we talk a lot about, I, as the outsider, feel like the strategic person made a decision to remove me from the process and therefore made a decision about my value. Strategic, a couple things. You need to understand that you assess, select, and strike very, very, very quickly. And it can often be for our own benefit. The challenge you face is that understand that you have a team that might feel a certain way about being included or not included. Also, strategic, solve the right problem. I'll tell people with strategic, yes, you solved the problem of getting the data, but you didn't solve the problem of why the teammate didn't give you what they needed. So don't simply solve the problem in proximity, solve the system. But what can happen is strategic, you can get so focused on problem to problem to problem that you realize all the problems can be solved with a higher level kind of meta decision. Fix the system. Strategic, if you find yourself running from one thing to the other, you got to think about, are you being strategic, to use the non-StrengthsFinder word, in how you're actually solving them? Are you thinking through the bigger picture? I had a woman say to me one time, yeah, my husband's so strategic, but he only solves problems when it's strategic, when it's absolutely important. I said, what do you mean? She said, he only takes out the trash if I light it on fire first. And so hopefully you're not that bad. But when it comes to strength, when it comes to the themes, we put them through, at the Dauphiny Group, we put them through the lens of communication, decision-making, and self-management. So for strategic often communicates about the problem. They often communicate in bullets, in bites. The big joke is that, strategic doesn't listen to voicemails longer than 10 seconds. If you can't get to the point in the first 10 seconds, they don't even bother. When they come to email, they don't need the narrative, hi, how you doing, how's your vacation? They want the bullets first, and if you're going to include your vacation, put it at the end. Because for their brain, they're going, this person's reaching out to me. If it was really about a problem to solve, which is what their brain wants, then they would be starting with the problem, starting with the bullets. So if you want to communicate with strategic, lead with the problem to be solved, lead with the items, line itemed and broken up into pieces as much as you can. When it comes to decision making, watch your strategic to prioritize solutions that they understand that solve the immediate problems. People will often, because it's not just the long term, people will say, well, surely the strategic person wants to solve, look at this will solve all of our problems down the road. 5 years from now, we'll really need, this will be a big issue. Strategic will often say, yeah, but if we don't deal with this now, there won't be a 5 years down the road. And so they instantly default to what's closest and what's in closest proximity to them. When it comes to self-care, strategic, you need to be careful. A lot of times what happens is that we like to make decisions quickly because we like to feel the wind in our hair. We like the rush of solving things. But at the same time, are you pushing to make a decision because the situation really calls for it, or are you doing it because you're exhausted and feeling insecure? Strategic, you really need to take some time. Mentally though, as far as like recharging, you might find puzzles like Sudoku and things like that energizing as well, because it fires up your brain to try to solve problems. Now, for some of you, you're like, I'm strategic and that doesn't sound like fun. That's because the problem solving there might feel meaningless, but it's different for everyone. Strategic. It's a theme that people misunderstand quite a bit. Now understand, a StrengthsFinder theme is not a strength until you do something with it. Many people have themes, but they don't actually apply them. A strength is a theme productively applied. So strategic, are you helping people solve problems? Strategic, are you willing to let us all get there? Strategic, you sometimes feel like you get to the party before we do. You start a meeting and you know how the meeting's going to end, and so you cut the meeting short. Remember, solve the right problem. Don't just solve the problem of finding the answer in the meeting. Solve the problem of helping the team learn about creating solutions on their own. Do you know somebody who's strategic? If you do, go ahead and tag them here in this video. Hope you've enjoyed this week's TDG Presents Theme Thursday. Whatever you're doing, take care of yourself. Lead courageously.